Coach, had a pretty good showing out at Urbana. Bats came alive for the first time this season, scored some runs, moved station to station, did everything that you really wanted to do. Talk to me a little bit about those games.
Well, our guys were absolutely fantastic all weekend at the plate. They did an excellent job cutting down on strikeouts. Our guys have really toned them down. We've worked a lot on two-strike hitting, just putting the ball in play, making the defense work. And actually in that first game, Urbana actually made 6 errors based on what we were doing, just making them work. You know, we didn't want to give them any free ones, didn't want to go up there looking at third strikes and things like that. And that first game was absolutely incredible. I mean, seeing the ball fly out of the stadium the way it was, we actually didn't have, I think we only had about 3 extra base hits, and they had 6 home runs. So it was very interesting to say the least, and our guys ended up pulling it out in the end. Second game, it was a tough one to swallow. We were up 2-1 going in the last inning, and brought in our closer, who has been absolutely lights out all year, and he just, you know, couldn't get that last out. You know, our defense kind of buckled a little bit there, and he did his job. He did what he needed to do. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out the way that we needed it to. And then the third game, we really challenged our guys. You know, we took them down the line and kind of got on them a bit and said, you know, basically you guys need to decide what kind of team you're going to be. Are you going to be the team that's going to lay down, or are you going to be the team that's going to fight? And they came out, and we were down early and ended up coming back, and it was actually 2 sac flies in the 7th inning that ended up putting us over the edge. And you know, to see our guys go out there and perform that way after a tough loss was very, very good to see.
Coach, you've played well defensively this season. What changed in the Urbana game that allowed you to hit? Because like we discussed just a little bit ago, the bats have just not been there. You've lost a lot of 1-run games. You've lost 2-run games to where just the bats weren't there. So what's changed?
Well, actually, it started in Cal PA late, just before all that chaotic snow and everything else hit. They did a much better job not panicking when they were getting behind in counts and things like that. That carried over, and we were hoping it would, and we saw a lot of good work in the cage during that week previous to us heading down this past weekend, and they just made a committed effort, and part of it was just keeping our guys loose. You know, we moved a few guys around in the lineup, which took a little bit of pressure off certain guys that were feeling pressure. You know, some of our younger guys, we took them and moved them down, you know, just because they actually came to us and said, you know, do you mind moving me down? And it was good to see that they were being honest with us, and I think that ultimately helps, the fact that they're looking at the team as a whole as opposed to themselves, and you know, hey, I'm great, I'm hitting leadoff, you know. Rather than saying that, they went ahead and told us, you know, listen, can you move me down to the 8-hole, 9-hole, where I might feel a little more comfortable until I can get some confidence back, and you know, then see how things work out after that. So I definitely appreciate that from our players, and the fact that they're able to understand what they are and aren't capable of. We've got AB on Thursday, and then we've got Hiwassee on the weekend. You know, they're not going to be, you know, Hawassee's not going to be a walkover team. You know, we're going to get some good weather, hopefully, down in Tennessee. It's about 7 hours away. You know, to this point, they've had a little bit of a rough year. But, I mean, the beautiful thing about baseball is that any day, any team can win. And, you know, if you go out there, you'll play teams. I've seen teams that have 5, 6, 7 wins on the season, but they've got one pitcher that they can throw out there that no matter what, he's lights out. Not to say this is Hiwassee, but, you know, it just proves that, you know, if you have 1 or 2 good pieces on your team, that could be enough to sway a game one way or the other. So.